Joining us now is award-winning journalist, author, and professor at the University of Miami, Rula Jebreal. Rula, thank you so much for being with us tonight. You have said Gaza is becoming a graveyard. What do you know about conditions there right now?
Well, families that we talk to and doctors and human rights, organizers, they're telling us that the feeling there that 50% of the infrastructure is demolished. There's thousands of people that are buried underground. They cannot take them out because of the bombardment, the carpet bombardment of the Israelis day and night. But what they're telling us that 90% of the anesthesia, they don't have anesthesia anymore. They are forced to operate without anesthesia. I mean, the feeling, and they actually urge us to demand an end to this human carnage. I mean, one of the families I talked to the other day was telling me it's like living in a slaughterhouse, waiting for your turn, looking at your family and waiting for your turn. But above all, they're writing even their names on their hands for children and women, because if they get killed or orphaned, they know who they are. Elizabeth, I testified before the European Parliament in 2019 about the humanitarian catastrophe in Yemen. What I'm seeing now in terms of scale, and also because of the geography of Gaza, I think we're heading towards even a further humanitarian catastrophe than the one in Yemen. You have the strongest army in the Middle East in a blockaded, tiny city with 2 million people, pounding them day in and day out.
Yeah.
I think we will be watching a mass slaughter. And if the ground invasion will take place, I think it will be a carnage.
Rula, I have to ask you, there were videos in the aftermath of the attack on Israel showing people in Gaza cheering that attack, celebrating as the body of a young German woman clad only in her underwear was driven through Gaza on a pickup truck. We don't know if she was alive or dead. What percentage of people in Gaza support Hamas?
Elizabeth, we don't know. We don't know because for the last 17 years, they never had an election. There's 2.2 million people who live there. 50% of them are children. So we don't have pollings. We don't know. But let's say that even 1% of the people support Hamas, or 2%. Are we willing to allow millions of them to die or be forcefully expelled from the country in order to have justice for the people who were killed by Hamas? I mean, as international community, but above all, if you look at extremists, this is the rationale. Lump yourself with extremists. They justify their action by saying, well, the government, you voted for this government and thus you are guilty. We cannot have these kind of standards that these terrorist groups apply.
Yeah, we should point that almost half the population of Gaza is under the age of 18. They weren't even alive when Hamas was elected. However, they must have known, as most people in Gaza do, that Hamas is storing weapons beneath them. They embed among them. They tunnel beneath them. They use them as human shields. Why don't any people in Hamas resist that?
Well, Elizabeth, I am surprised you asked this question. Gaza has been blockaded, sieged for the last 17 years, blockaded completely. It's an open-air prison, according to human rights organization and Israeli organization. And not only that, they had 5 wars in these. So if you are a child who was born in Gaza during this period, who is 17 or 16 years old, do you want those people who had 5 wars, who live in total poverty, as you said, to rise up against an organization that is? So you're asking, if I can describe Hamas, it's like the gang inside the jail that is torturing people inside that jail. But the issue here is the jail itself. So we are asking those people who are oppressed by the jailer, in the same time bombed, for 5 wars consecutively, to rise up. I think it's not even possible. It's not even rational to ask that. I think the real question now that Israel has all the power, it's the strongest army in the Middle East. Is there another formula that, for example, General Petraeus applied when he was in Iraq to separate the civilians, to protect the civilians? It's incumbent on Israel to, according to international law, to protect the civilians and do something, not only a military response, but They need to be a political response.
Thanks so much for watching. Go to joinnn.com to find NewsNation on your television provider. And don't forget to click the red subscribe button below to get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.